The second I hit the live button, they start using a drill or like a power saw or some kind of electronic. It's not electronic. That's not how tools work. I don't know tools. They're doing car stuff at the mechanic next door. Hi, it's me. I got a big stack this week. It's kind of the normal. This is how it's going to be. I think this is just my life now. I haven't even counted this. There's a lot of thick books in here for, so maybe that helps kind of like justify this. It's not as much as it looks like. I don't know. There's no getting around it. This is a lot. This is a lot to handle. Thank you, Retro Savage and Bake the Snake, for hanging out with me here tonight. I know it's Wednesday. I know that this is like the day for comic stuff on YouTube, so thanks for hanging out with me. I'm just going to go through my pulls one by one and give a little breakdown. I've read a significant portion of this stack already, actually, so I might even be able to speak informed about some of this stuff. I don't know how to do words today, I guess. Excuse me. My brain is useless. It's sludge. Okay, first book. A book I haven't read yet. I've kind of been saving this one. Human Target, number 4. This has been a fantastic book from Black Label, from DC's Black Label, written by Tom King with phenomenal art on the inside by Greg Smallwood. I'm not sure how well it's going to show up on this camera here. I got to start bringing my good camera with me on these days. Yeah, the art is just it's kind of the selling point for me, honestly, with this series. The story is fantastic, but the art kind of gives it, I don't know, it brings it to a whole nother level. This is, I think, 10 issues, 12 issues. I don't know which one is right, but it might say on the front for all I know. It doesn't. I'm pretty sure it's 12. Whatever. It's a miniseries. It's a Tom King miniseries. About a guy who, what's the best way to describe it? A guy whose job it is to impersonate people who think they're going to be assassinated and kind of like take the bullet for somebody. Like in the first issue, he impersonates Lex Luthor on stage at a press conference and gets shot because Lex Luthor thought he was about to be assassinated. Turns out he was. But then this main character, whose name I can't even remember, honestly, he gets like poisoned in the first issue. So the remaining issue, the whole story takes place, I think, over 12 days. Over the last, I think it's 12. However many days he has left to live. Each issue is a day in his life as he approaches his death and tries to figure out who poisoned him. It's a really cool book. I'm glad I took the chance on Human Target. Next up is another book I have not read yet. We're off to a great start. This is Telepaths, number 5 of 6 from AWA. This one's kind of disappointing. I have not been as into this as I wanted to be. It's a story about a solar flare that goes off and gives, I think, 1% of the world's population telepathy, so they can like read people's minds. But I think there's also an aspect of telekinesis involved, or people who can implant thoughts into other people. And then the story is just kind of about what the world would look like if suddenly your neighbor could know all your secrets. Or, I'm doing a very terrible job of explaining it, but it's got interior art by Steve Epting, who I know more from the Captain America series he did with Ed Brubaker. He's the co-creator of The Winter Soldier. So it does have a very cool, realistic, kind of dark art style, which helps. But I don't know. The story is going in a weird direction that I wasn't necessarily on board for. And I have been extremely vocal about my love for everything that AWA puts out. And I do really like this comic, but I think unless it vastly improves in the second half, this is 5 of 6, so there's only one more after this. I've only read the first 4, but unless it improves wildly in the back end, it won't be one of my favorites that they've done. I've got a mental tier list of every AWA series in my head. Telepaths is going to be solidly in the middle. Next book on this stack. Ooh, okay, this one I have read. This is Black Panther number 3, also number 200. So this one is a $6 book. Yeah, it's a little, $2 more than the normal cover price. Let me open it up. So in here you get the normal Black Panther ongoing story that's been pretty cool about him traveling across the world to, he put T'Challa, the king of Wakanda, is now a democracy instead of a monarchy, so he's no longer really the leader of the country. But before that happened, he kind of put a bunch of sleeper agents across the world in various countries secretly to kind of be activated in case of any, global event that happens. But some organization has discovered these agents and is taking them out. And so this story so far has been about Black Panther kind of going on a quest to kind of track these people down and let them know that their lives are in danger. And it's been a pretty cool story so far. It's only 3 issues in, so there's not a whole lot to go off of. But it's the story. The main issue takes you literally up to the exact halfway mark. This is the page with the staple in it, so you're exactly halfway. And there are 2 backup stories in here. One of which is I didn't really care for. It was a story about the early days of Black Panther. I honestly can't even remember what really happens in here. He goes on a spirit quest or something. The main draw is the art by Junie Ba, who I am familiar from somewhere in this stack, is a B cover for Dark Blood. He's been doing the variants for the series Dark Blood from Boom Studios. He also just did the book Monkey Meat for Image, which was very strange. So yeah, his art is very unique and kind of eye-catching, and that's been the biggest standout factor of this backup story. The first of the 2 backup stories in the back of Black Panther number 3. The third one details a new character, I think, a different section of Wakanda, a different sect, people who are a little bit more in tune with nature, who aren't as runaway technologically focused, because that's something that Wakanda has always done. They have this stockpile of vibranium in their country, so they have used that to kind of develop insane advanced technology and progress their society into apparently they're a hyper capitalist country, I guess. I'm not really familiar with Black Panther. This is my first time reading a Black Panther ongoing, but there is a group in this story. There is a group of Wakandans who are much more in touch with nature and environment, and they don't really agree with the trajectory that their country's going on. So I think there might be a tease in here for a Wakanda kind of civil war brewing or something. I'm not sure exactly what's happening, but that the second backup story, seems to be kind of a tease of things to come, which I appreciated more than the kind of peak at the beginning of the Black Panther mythos, I guess. There's a lot in there. I'm glad they didn't charge $10 for this and stuff it full of stuff to make a 200th anniversary issue. It's only $6, so it's not that bad. And I'm glad there's at least part of the main story ongoing in here, that it's not just a big celebratory anniversary issue, which Marvel is very guilty of doing. All right, enough of that. Next up, this is Stray Dogs, Dog Days number 2. This is the homage to Trick or Treat, a movie that I'm not really a big fan of. Hot take, I guess. Everyone seems to love the movie Trick or Treat. I just recently watched it, and it's hard for me to even make it all the way through that movie. But whatever. This is Stray Dogs. This is not Trick or Treat. This is an anthology. I have not read Stray Dogs, Dog Days number 2 yet. But the first issue focused on each of the dogs from the original Stray Dogs series. It kind of told a little flashback about each one of them to kind of develop out their characters a little more. And this is number 2 of 2. I'm pretty sure this is it. I'm not sure what more Stray Dogs stuff there is going to be, but if this is anything like the first one was, it's just a series of 2, 3, 4 page flashback stories about each of the dogs from the original comic. So it's cool, but it's nothing earth-shaking or nothing like the original story. I still prefer that to the Dog Days spinoff. All right, next up here, this is Detective Comics 1050. I got to pull out this cover because I've been loving they're doing some kind of power wash. It's fun trying to like guess the car things that are happening next door because I don't know car things. They're spraying something with some kind of high pressure hose. So hopefully it's much louder for me than it is for you guys. But yeah, this is the Lee Bermejo variant. It's got Batmen from different eras on the front. I assume he draws all of them. I don't know if these are just, so he's got his, the Batman he's kind of famous for drawing here. But then on the side, there are 3 older versions of Batman in the background. I don't know if that's him drawing those or if those are just spliced in from an older image. I hope he drew them. I think that would make for a more cohesive image. But either way, it's a cool, Batman through the ages kind of cover. And there were several different options for Detective Comics 1050, but I went with I've been getting the Lee Bermejo variants for this whole run, and why mess with a good thing? So this is another one like the Black Panther I was just talking about. You have the main story in here, the Arkham Tower story, which, by the way, is freaking awesome. Like, this might be my favorite current Batman comic right now. I don't think I love the main Batman title. I didn't really love it back when James Tynion was writing it either. I don't know. I think I might just not like the main Batman book. It's kind of safe and it doesn't surprise me. But I have been enjoying this weekly Arkham Tower event. And then the backups have been fun too. There's been a backup story in here about a kid who is growing up in the Martha Wayne orphanage or something. Now they're drilling next door. Hopefully you guys can't hear anything at all. But yes, you've got you've got the normal main story, you've got the normal backup story, and then there is a third backup story in here that is a preview / kind of prologue, I guess, for Mark Waid and Dan Mora's upcoming World's Finest series. This is a story with Batman and Superman and Robin also fighting Metallo. I don't know. It's got Dan Mora art, so I'm on board. I'm very much looking forward to the new World's Finest series that is coming up. It's going to be fun. This is a cool backup. And again, like the Black Panther anniversary issue, this is another anniversary issue 1050. Any excuse to kind of overprice your book and stuff it full of content. This isn't overstuffed. There's not too much in here, and the price is only $1 more than the normal Detective Comics, which is a nice touch. I appreciated that. Ooh, okay, here we go. Batman Catwoman special. This book brought me to tears 3 separate times. I'm not too proud to admit that, but I don't even. Okay, so this was solicited in the middle of last year, I think, a long time ago, and then the cover artist John Paul Leon, or cover and interior art. I think he did the interiors for this as well, at least for the main story that's in here. He died after this was solicited. He died very suddenly and abruptly, and they took this book down and turned this into kind of a tribute issue. So not only is this a Batman Catwoman special, but there are a couple of John Paul Leon stories from the DC archive kind of included in the back of this comic. And there's a few, I don't know the right word, obituary, that's not the right word. A couple of other creators wrote like a page and a half each about John Paul Leon and his career and his contributions to the comic industry. And I'm a little ashamed that I don't really know a lot about him as an artist. He's done a few of the Tom King Batman issues. I think he did the art for them. He did some art for the series DMZ, which I recently read. I've seen him in there, but I was not really that familiar with him as an artist. But even as somebody who was not very familiar, a couple of the tributes to him and his work really got me. They got me in the feels, as you say. And but I also got really emotional at one part in the story in this book. It's about Batman and Catwoman's relationship through the years. Each page, I think, takes place on a different Christmas throughout their lives. So it's a Christmas story but it stretches throughout time, which gives it a really different perspective. It definitely is a tie-in to the Batman Catwoman ongoing or miniseries that Tom King is writing. So it helps if you're at least a little bit familiar with that comic. I've only read the first 3 or so issues, but there's some stuff that you kind of, I don't want to say you need to know from reading that comic, but it certainly helps. But either way, this was a fantastic tribute, and I would recommend it. It got me. It hit me in the emotions. Saga. This is another little tiny independent book that most people don't know about that came out today. I feel like I'm I don't know. I don't like being I kind of do. I am definitely the contrarian, I guess, with Saga. I enjoy this comic. I don't have a shrine to Saga in my house like a lot of people do. Our store did not do a midnight launch for this comic, but even if it did, I did not go out and like hunt for this book at midnight. I was not. I don't know. I have all 3 of the hardcovers for Saga. I've only read the first 2, so I'm not even current on Saga. I need to go back and reread the whole series pretty soon because I would like to be current on this book, especially because I'm now getting every single issue, and it is like maybe the most important comic of the last decade. But it's just a really good comic. I just don't think it's like the greatest thing in the whole world, and I need to just people kind of get in a frenzy about Saga, and I don't feel it. I don't know. It's really good. It's kind of the same way I feel about like Rick and Morty fans. It's a good show, but the people who really, really love it kind of make me question whether or not it's worth it or whether I'm crazy for liking it at all. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but yeah, that's Saga. You don't need me to tell you about it. I haven't read this yet. I'm woefully behind. I need to, like I said, I just need to restart the whole series and finally finish it and get up to date. I do appreciate the fact that they are keeping the price at $2.99, where I assume that was the price when they stopped. What, in 2018, 2019? I respect that. I think that's cool that they did that, but I have no I don't know. I am not as into Saga as a lot of people are. Okay, what's next? Joy Operations. I have not read this yet. I've read the first 2. This is Bendis' new series for Dark Horse Comics that he's been doing with the artist is Stephen Byrne. And I gotta say, I'm starting to regret ever liking Brian Michael Bendis. Most everything the last thing he has done that I really liked was Naomi in 2019. Everything else, I liked his Superman run. I liked his Action Comics run. They weren't the greatest, but I still enjoyed them. But his run on Justice League has absolutely sucked, and that's in here. I will get to that eventually. But recently, Brian Michael Bendis switched over from being exclusive at DC Comics to working with Dark Horse, and this is the first thing he has put out since making that switch. The artwork in here is really cool. I do really like the kind of clean artwork in here that reminds me a lot of the Ultimate Universe in that I can't describe it. Like, clean is the word that keeps coming to mind. Like, it's very clear. It reminds me a lot of Bruno Redondo on Nightwing. Just kind of like, you don't have any questions about what's happening, and it's really pleasant to look at. It's a sci-fi comic that I can't really decipher, and everybody in here talks like Brian Michael Bendis. And over the last decade, whenever I said I was a fan of Brian Michael Bendis, people would say, yeah, but his voice is so irritating. Every character talks like Peter Parker. And I was always willing to put up with that, I think. I've been thinking about it, actually, and I think that tendency of his to kind of give everyone a super sarcastic, light-hearted, kind of joking, kidding around voice, I think that works a lot better in the Marvel universe than it does with the Justice League in particular. I don't know. They're a lot more serious of a team, and like, it's one thing to have Green Arrow and the Flash crack jokes at each other and Naomi crack jokes, but when Black Adam and Batman and Superman start kind of joking around, it feels gross, I guess. And he writes a very specific kind of book well. I really loved his book Scarlet. That's one of my favorite books I've read in years, and I'm interested to see where he goes with that. I know he's going to be doing another volume of Scarlet and Cover now that he has moved his independent books over to Dark Horse, so I'm going to read those. But I enjoy his independent stuff much more than I do his superhero stuff. But this one doesn't really grab me in the way that I think I wanted it to. It's bad when I'm saying that I really like the art more than the story. And the art in there, as you saw, was really good, but it's not like, I don't know. I'm glad this is a miniseries. I think it's only 5 issues. And we'll see how it goes. Who did this cover? This was a variant cover by Declan Shalvey. It's a cool artist. I enjoy his writing a lot too. All right, next up, this is Thor number 21. This book is blown up. This is the first real kind of, I don't know how first appearances work. The last issue, the God of Hammers, is the antagonist of this current arc. The God of Hammers made her, I'm pretty sure it's a woman, a female. She showed up at the end of issue 20, so that would be the first appearance. And this one, she battles with Thor throughout this issue, so I guess this is the full appearance. I don't know the terms. I don't know whatever the I don't know. This book was cool, but it's not like $20 cool. People are paying a lot of money for this on eBay. I'm enjoying this arc. For me, Thor has been kind of, I don't want to say hit or miss because I've been enjoying it, and when it's working really well. I really loved the first story arc with the Black Winter. For me, it's based on how much I like the antagonist of each story arc. The Black Winter stuff was really cool with Galactus. And then there was a story arc with Donald Blake where Thor's alter ego kind of went insane and fought him. It was weird. It was a trip, but it was fun. I liked that. And I'm enjoying this stuff with the God of Hammers. So for me, I'm enjoying this run of Thor, but it varies based on who he is going up against. I don't think it's the origin story of the God of Hammers, John. I don't remember. This is the thing. I read this not even 24 hours ago, and my brain is just, it's gone. As far as I can remember, it was a big, drawn-out fight. Basically, Thor's hammer has almost become sentient in a way, and massacres are being committed across the realms, the 9 realms, the 10 realms now, I guess. And people are blaming Thor because it's very clearly people being smashed with a hammer. So it looks like Thor is responsible for all this stuff, and he comes to blows with his actual hammer, I guess. It's weird. Donny Cates is definitely doing some weird storytelling with this current story arc in particular, but I'm not liking it. And Thor is not a character that I am drawn to. He's never really done it for me. I don't love Thor. So if I am enjoying a Thor comic, then the writer has to be doing something special for me to care. It's not like Green Lantern where I will just get the comic no matter who's writing it because I love the character and the world so much. Thor has to be done well for me to really want to read it. So I'm glad that I'm enjoying it. So yeah, give it a shot if you're on the fence. I think on the whole, this Donny Cates run of Thor has been solid. Obviously, mileage will vary based on your preference, but I would recommend it. At least the beginning. Read the first trade, because I think for me that's the best part of this run so far. Okay, next up, I think this one was delayed. Our shop has had issues with getting all of our books on time. Pretty sure this was not new this week. This is Dark Knights of Steel number 3. Yeah, number 3 of 12. This is the Joshua Middleton variant. I'm really digging this story. It's like DC, but in Game of Thrones, which are 2 things I really love. I don't like touching these because these are the really glossy cardstock variants. I'm going to get fingerprints all over this cover, but it's just a cool medieval reinterpretation of the DC universe. Lots of swords, lots of schemes, lots of politics happening in here. It's written by Tom Taylor with art by Yasmin Putri. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. I think it's her. But I kind of feel like I'm enjoying this book more than a lot of other people. I guess your mileage will vary based on how you feel about. I'm spoiling myself. I have not read this yet. Your mileage may vary based on how you feel about fantasy and swords and sorcery and all that. But I can take it in small bursts, and if it's handled by a writer who's doing something really cool, then I'm into it. Fantasy is not a genre that I am like really into, but I really love Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire. What was it? Name of the Wind, The King Killer Chronicles. I hate fantasy sometimes for having really dorky names like that, but that's been a cool fantasy series. I read Lord of the Rings in middle school, actually. So some fantasy stuff I can get into, but more often than not, I find it really complicated and hard. I did not make it all the way through the Wheel of Time. I tried to read that series of novels. I made it through like 5 books, and they're huge, and there's just way too much there. I didn't care. I couldn't finish the Dark Tower series either. I need to go back and give that another shot. But fantasy for me is hit or miss, and I am really enjoying Tom Taylor's medieval take on the DC universe. Ooh, next up is The Good Asian number 8. This was super delayed. Our shop, this came out probably a month ago at this point, honestly. The new one's probably almost out. Our shop got the A covers for issue 8, but not the variant. And I'm subscribed to the variants for The Good Asian, so I had to wait. And according to the writer, Pornsak Pichachot is the writer of this comic. And according to him, issue 8 is bananas. So I'm very excited to get to that. There's only 2 issues left of The Good Asian, but if you watch my top 10 comics of 2021 video, which you should watch if you're here and you're watching me now, go back and watch stuff I liked from last year. Good Asian was number 2. I put that as my second favorite comic of the year. It's a phenomenal series, and I'm glad that people are finally starting to catch on. And I was there from the beginning. I guess I'm just cool. Next book, Captain America Iron Man number 3. This one's hard. This one's hard to describe. I don't hate this comic. I don't know what I was expecting, because it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's Captain America and Iron Man teaming up to go after this lady here who, there's a flashback in the first issue. A long time ago, she slept with Tony Stark and used him to get a job in S.H.I.E.L.D., and it turns out she was a Hydra agent. And she did, I don't remember exactly what she did, but she did something to get on Captain America's bad side. And so both of them have a grudge with this lady who is now busted out of prison. So they are trying to track her down and put her back in prison, I guess, is what's going to happen at the end of this. Spoiler alert. I mean, it's a superhero comic, so things are probably going to work out in the end. Yeah, Alex Ross covers on this run. So the A covers on Captain America Iron Man have been pretty solid so far. I'm pretty sure this is another 5-issue miniseries. It's exactly what it sounds like. For better and for worse. I think it doesn't do anything too shocking or different or surprising in here, but I think it doesn't poop the bed. It doesn't ruin the premise. I'm not describing it very well. It's very solid. It delivers what you expect, but nothing more than what you expect. Someone's honking their horn right outside this door, so that's cool. Thanks for that. Okay, for the record, we are this far through my stack. This is still all that we have left to go through, and we are half an hour into this stream. So thank you, everybody, for hanging out with me. Feel free to leave and do something actually fun. I'm going to do a quick little shuffle. Whoop. Spoiler alert, you just saw whatever book was on the bottom of the stack now. Okay. Next up, what is this? Oh, DC versus Vampires, number 4 of 12. I am kind of surprised at how much I'm liking this comic. I will be interested to see if anybody disagrees with me in the chat right now. But this has been a fun kind of like, it's not exactly like a mystery book, but the premise is that certain characters in the DC universe have been bitten by vampires and are slowly turning more and more heroes and villains in the DC universe into vampires and just spreading and trying to take over, I guess. And one member of the Justice League, I don't want to spoil it in case you haven't read this yet, in case you want to, but one member of the Justice League has been turned into a vampire, and this story is kind of dealing with that person trying to spread and contaminate the rest of the team and, therefore the rest of the DC universe. And it's kind of funny. They make a lot of jokes in here. Suspicion naturally falls on Batman because he only goes out at night. He lives in a cave. He's a bat. So I found that kind of is a little silly. It's an obvious joke to make, but it worked. It worked on me. It made me laugh. There's some good banter in here, specifically with Green Arrow and Batman. And the art is serviceable. It's nothing too crazy. It kind of gives me Greg Smallwood Human Target vibes in a way, but it's not that epic, I guess is the right word. It's not the right word, but it's a word. I'm going with it. The art is by Otto Schmidt. And it says this is co-written by James Tynion and Matthew Rosenberg, I think is his name. Whenever I see that there's co-writers, I always wonder exactly how much, James Tynion is the bigger name on this book, and I'm wondering exactly how involved he is with this comic. But it's kind of surprising. It's surprisingly not terrible. I didn't expect much from this comic when I put it on my pull list, but the fact that it says up front 12 issues makes me much more inclined to stick around for the whole run. And I'm enjoying the kind of subterfuge and the deception that's going on in this comic, and seeing people slowly turn into vampires makes me kind of concerned for how things are going to pan out for the rest of the story. But yeah, this is issue 4, so we are now 1/3 of the way done. It's pretty solid so far. I think I can safely recommend DC versus Vampires, which is interesting. That's definitely the kind of thing I don't think I would like. I don't typically enjoy vampire stories. Okay, this feels thick. Next comic, Joker Annual 2021 Annual. This is very delayed. Our shop just now got this cover in. Again, this is a situation where when this book came out, we got all of our cover A's for this comic, but the variant cover, which I ordered, did not show up. And it did not show up. And I kind of just forgot about it and wrote it off. And now it's here. It's the same team, actually. Tynion and Rosenberg, with art by Francisco Francavilla, who I really enjoy. This is a variant cover, though, by Hip. What's his name? Dan Hip. Does a lot of cartoony little faces down here. I enjoy this art. It's a cool cover. I'm glad I got it. I completely forgot that it existed, honestly. So it's probably going to be the thing I read last, because it really doesn't matter, I guess. Especially now that the Joker run is kind of officially winding down. All right. Next book. Ooh, this is the finale to The Death of Doctor Strange. This is issue number 5. I did read this one. I don't know why I keep wanting to like I know why I want to like Doctor Strange, because he's cool and he's got a lot of history and he's an important character in the Marvel Universe. But I don't love magic and supernatural stuff, and that's obviously exactly what this book is. I don't want to spoil it, so I don't know how much I can even talk about it, but it's in the title. Doctor Strange dies, and this comic kind of deals with the ramifications of there being no Sorcerer Supreme in this dimension, and what sort of threats kind of try to make a move now that there is no magical guardian protecting our world from, all kinds of horribleness. So it deals with the death of Doctor Strange and kind of who is going to be the new Sorcerer Supreme. I don't know how much more I want to get into it than that, but it was an okay 5-issue run. I don't think I'm ever going to read it again. I'll probably bring that to this weekend's claim sale, actually, with the Golden Age Guru. I'm trying to think of different miniseries I can bring to that sale and offer it to people, because I do think it's fun, and I do think it will have ramifications for the Marvel Universe moving forward. And I would like to bundle the whole thing up all at once and give someone the opportunity to read stuff that I touched with my grubby little fingers. So that's fun, right? People like that. Okay. Next book. This is Amazing Spider-Man. What number are we on already? 87. Whew. I think this book is still coming out 3 times a month. I have not read this one. I finally got current on this series. Actually, I was missing issue like 83 or something like that, and so I had to track that down. And I'm now current on this run. I don't hate it, but now that I know, in the new Marvel previews guide, they are relaunching Spider-Man with a new #1. So this whole dual era with 2 Spider-Man with was it Ben Reilly, the clone Spider-Man, and Peter Parker. It's obviously it wasn't going to last forever. Obviously, they're going to reset and get back to some normal sort of status quo. I just didn't think it would be so soon. I was actually kind of enjoying Ben Reilly as Spider-Man and the shady goings on over at the Beyond Corporation that was kind of financing his super Spider-Man outfit and all the tech that he was using. It was, in spite of myself, I was kind of enjoying that story. But now knowing that it's going to wrap up and we're going to get a new creative team, I don't know. The nature of Spider-Man comics, I'm learning, is they come out so fast. I think it's going back down to twice a week or twice a month. It's not that fast. Twice a month, with John Romita Jr. on the art, who is, I don't hate him as much as a lot of other people do, but I think Spider-Man is one of the things that he's allowed to draw and not much else. He seems to be getting worse and worse as he gets older. So I don't know how excited I am to continue on into that era, but I'm going to, because it's Spider-Man. I kind of learned that I can't take that book off my pull list. I apparently can't take any book off my pull list until it dies a natural death, like the death of Doctor Strange, something that ends after 5 issues. But I'm going to stick on with Spider-Man, if only so I can provide perspective on it for 7 people here in the audience. So thank you guys for joining again. We're definitely past the halfway mark. I got a pretty big stack this week, and I'm surprised at how much of it I've actually managed to read in advance. Maybe I've read this one. I have not read this one. What is this? Wonder Girl 7. Someone fill me in, but I'm not sure exactly when this run is ending, but it is ending very soon, if not right here. I'm not sure. A little disappointed, honestly. I didn't love this comic as much as I wanted to, but I can think of at least one book right now that I would have preferred that DC cancel over this. Future State Gotham has been an absolute dumpster fire of a comic, and I can't believe that book is continuing on. And something like Wonder Girl, who was an interesting character, and I think she had a lot of potential for the future. I don't know what they're going to do with her, but this comic is getting canceled. I don't know exactly when. This might be the last issue. Maybe there's 1 or 2 more, but it's almost over. And yeah, it's kind of a bummer. I do enjoy this variant cover by Tedesco. I can never remember his full name, but his last name is Tedesco. And yeah, this is cool. Her chilling in a tree with a bunch of big jungle cats. Kind of scary. I do have one more Tedesco variant in this stack too. But yeah, that's Wonder Girl. It's not my favorite book by any stretch of the imagination, but I've enjoyed it. I don't know. I would have liked to see maybe a new creative team jump on, maybe tell a different story. But I don't want it to be canceled, but it's canceled. So maybe they're going to do something with it in the future. Yes, this is the finale, according to Google. Okay, so Wonder Girl, 7 issues and done already. Big disappointment. I think they could have done a lot more with this character, and I hope they do. Maybe the volume or the run ending. I don't know. They're ending Justice League too. Justice League is being canceled, so eventually that'll come back. Maybe Wonder Girl will come back too eventually. I would like it. I think she's a lot of fun. She's a cool character. But apparently that doesn't matter anymore because it's canceled. Okay, next book. Oh, God. Okay. Oh, this was heartbreaking to read. The bad kind of heartbreaking. This is Justice League number 71. First of all, I love this variant. This is a Flash variant by Alexander Lozano. Yeah, that's his name. Alexander Lozano does this cover, and it's freaking cool. It's got crazy sense of motion. He's been doing the variants for Justice League for a little while, and they've been great B covers. And that's the only positive thing I can say about this comic. Actually, I'm enjoying the interior artwork by Phil Hester. It doesn't exactly fit the Justice League, but this issue in particular has 3 2-page spreads of a battle scene that kind of happen in quick succession, which is a little cheap but at least it shows off the kind of blocky, stylized art of Phil Hester, which I enjoyed. But the last panel before this is someone asking, "How did the battle go?" And he's like, "How did it go?" And you turn the page, boom, big battle scene. Boom, another big battle scene. And then you have a third 2-page spread with no dialogue. If it was a comic I liked, I would have been a little upset that they took up that much room with silence. But I hate this run of Justice League. I really, 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 really don't like it. It's Brian Michael Bendis, which is kind of astonishing. He is a writer that I have been a fan of for quite a long time. I've been a vocal fan of for quite a long time, in spite of people telling me, "You're dumb for liking Brian Michael Bendis as much as you do." But the man wrote New Avengers for Marvel, which is still one of my favorite runs of all time, and Ultimate Spider-Man. So just for those two runs alone, he's pretty top-notch for me. But those were 20 years ago. Like, it's been a long time since he wrote either one of those titles, and ever since then, he has been a little bit of a decrease in quality. And I think there's a culmination of it here in Justice League. There is not one redeeming thing I can say about the plot that happens in this book, and I can't even begin to describe it. Someone stole the Fortress of Solitude to trade for a meteorite full of rare minerals. And the whole time I kept thinking, like, what a dream job writing a comic like the Justice League must be. Like, how many other bucket list series can you write after doing literally like every comic ever over at Marvel? And you get the keys to the DC universe. You write Superman for a while, and then they give you the Justice League. And a writer like Brian Michael Bendis, who is capable, who can write, who has demonstrated talent before, you get this world to play in, you get this kind of scope, and you write a story about the Royal Flush Gang stealing the Fortress of Solitude to trade to somebody else for an asteroid with rare minerals to sell for cash. And that's the plot you come up with. Like, I don't know. I used to like the Rom V Justice League Dark backup stories in there, and they're good. It's definitely much better than the Bendis Justice League main title in this comic. But I don't like the Justice League Dark. I don't care for magic or supernatural stuff. But Rom V is a very talented writer, so it's less of a slog to get through than the Justice League. But oh my god, like, other than these awesome variant covers, like, other than the cover, don't open this. Just buy this and look at this, or just Google it and download a JPEG of this, and you're good. Don't spend any money on this comic. I never say that. I don't like saying that. I don't like talking bad about a comic, but don't read this. And Scott Snyder's run on Justice League before this was not that much better either. I've only tried a few Justice League runs in my time, but for me, maybe it was because it was my first, and maybe that's nostalgia speaking, but for me, Justice League, I liked it the most in the New 52 with Jeff Johns. I think he wrote a very solid Justice League story, and everything I've read since then has not lived up. All right, Paul, I see you saying a lot here. I can't stand Hester's art. I kind of felt the same way the first time I experienced Phil Hester's artwork on Family Tree from Image. But after I brought that comic to a Comic Tom live show, and Tom and I discussed Family Tree, and he pointed out a lot of things about the art that I had not noticed, and a lot of subtle touches. And it made me go back and kind of appreciate the way he draws a little more. It's not for everybody. It's definitely very stylized and blocky and cartoony, but I think it works just not that well on Justice League. I don't know if it's the right kind of scope and scale for something that should be big and epic and not about the damn Royal Flush Gang somehow stealing a building, not just a building, but the Fortress of Solitude. Okay. Whew. That's the way I feel about several pages of prose in comics. Department of Truth. I've seen you rag on those pages on Department of Truth, and for context, anybody who's not reading Department of Truth, it's the conspiracy comic, and some of the recent issues have had several pages in a row of characters writing in their journal. It was like a diary entry, and you get several pages in a row of just blocks of text. James Tynion also did that in Nice House on the Lake too. I like that. I think it differs based on obviously the reader, but obviously also the writer. I think James Tynion is qualified, and I enjoyed reading those characters like diary entries, but I also really love Department of Truth, and any excuse to linger in an issue of that comic is good for me. I think they added a lot of context, and I heard some people, I don't know if it was you, but I heard some people skipped those pages, which is bonkers to me, but whatever. I appreciate it in the right book, in the right context. Obviously, if I wanted to just read words, I would read novels, but it's the juxtaposition, words and images. Just tuning in, excited for the return of Saga. No. Sorry, you missed. Sorry, Luke, you missed my. I talked about Saga already. That was already done on this stack. I don't love it as much as everybody else does. It's a perfectly fine comic. It's even a great comic. I just don't. It's not for me, I guess. In that sense, I wasn't tossing and turning all night like jonesing to read Saga. I'm not current on it either, so maybe I'm willing to admit maybe something happened in the last. I have those 3 deluxe hardcovers of Saga, and I never read the 3rd one. So maybe something really cool and cliffhanger-y happens in that last 3rd book, and I know how it left off, but I don't know anything that happened in the book. I just know where we left off. I don't know. Maybe Saga just isn't for me, but I want to read the whole series before I get back to it. Also, what are your thoughts on the new Stray Dogs books? So many covers. I also touched on Stray Dogs earlier. I got the Trick or Treat homage. It's a cool book. I don't like it as much as the original run of Stray Dogs. I appreciate that they're doing little vignettes, I guess is the right word, focused on each of the dogs and providing some context and backstory. But since the original comic is over, it doesn't really matter as much. It doesn't hit as hard, I think, as maybe if these little stories had been like backups in the back of the Stray Dogs book as they were coming out. That might have been cool to kind of. I don't know. They would have meant more, I think, if these stories were told during the run of Stray Dogs as opposed to after the fact. It's kind of how I feel about Black Widow, actually. I just watched that movie yesterday for the first time, and it was a really cool movie, but the whole time I was thinking, like, this doesn't matter because she's dead in the main Marvel universe, and she's not appearing in any further movies, so this is just kind of slightly unnecessary backstory. And I get that, obviously Yelena Belova is now a character moving forward, and it's a whole different conversation. But whatever. I kind of felt the same way about Stray Dogs. Like, it's cool backstory to have, but now that the main story is over, it's a little unnecessary. But it'll be cool to go back and reread Stray Dogs with the information that you get from these 2 issues. You didn't skip the pages. You didn't read the issue. Oh, no, man. That's okay. We agree on so many other comics, Paul, that I think we're allowed to disagree on Department of Truth, even though that book is in my top 5 current ongoing titles. Like, I love that comic a whole lot. Okay. That's true. That's true, Luke. If Fiona is a local artist for you, then it's good to support her. I would say support her anyway. I think the art in Saga is phenomenal. It's a great book. It's the writer, Brian K. Vaughan, is one of the greatest writers currently alive, period. He's written some of the best comics of all time, so you can't knock the team. It's not a bad book. I just don't love it as much as everybody else does, so it kind of sours me on the whole experience. Earlier, I compared the fandom to the Rick and Morty fandom. People who just get way too obsessed and in love with a great story, but the fans kind of turn me off from liking the whole thing altogether. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how my brain works. All right, for context, I have this many books to go left, and we're at 49 minutes. I'm not in any rush, clearly, but let's get to the next book. Action Comics. This is another variant by Tedesco. I've been enjoying this book a lot. I really liked it when Bendis was writing it, even though I just spent a good portion of this show dunking on him. I don't know what the PG version of that word is. There's some stuff on the back of this cover. Whatever, I'll fix that later. Action Comics 1039. Is that right? 1039? Yeah. So if you're reading the Son of Kal-El, ooh, Federici did the interiors on here. Okay, I love that guy. I have not read this yet. If you're reading the Superman Son of Kal-El book, you will know that Clark Kent has left planet Earth to solve a problem on War World, where Mongol lives. And he has left his son, Jonathan Kent, in charge of Earth in his absence. So most people are reading the Superman Son of Kal-El book about Jonathan Kent in Metropolis and doing Superman stuff. But Action Comics is detailing what happens to Clark Kent in the galaxy while he's off rescuing the people of War World. And I strongly recommend reading Action Comics. Riccardo Federici is doing the interiors of this issue. I'm not sure if I don't think he did the last issue. I can't remember. I don't think he did because his art stands out. Superman seems to be in bad shape in this story. He's trying to rescue a planet full of slaves. And it's just a really cool story. Not a lot of people are reading Action Comics. I think if you had to pick one, maybe go with Superman Son of Kal-El. But if you're like me and you're fortunate enough to get both, this is a good read. I don't normally recommend Superman stuff to most people because most people write Superman off entirely as a character, but that's a whole nother conversation. But this current run of Action Comics has been really solid. It's written by Philip Kennedy Johnson, who is actually, if he's teaming up with Riccardo Federici again, the two of them made The Last God, the epic fantasy series for DC, which was really good. So it's cool to see them back together here. And I did kind of catch similar vibes from The Last God while I was flipping through that book just now. Augu says Action Comics is better. I politely disagree, but I would agree. Wow. I politely disagree, but I see where you're coming from. I could entertain the argument from the counterpoint, but I still think I prefer Tom Taylor's Superman, Son of Kal-El. I'm going to see what I have next here. Ooh, okay. Mary Jane and Black Cat. This is a spin-off of the Beyond series that's happening in Amazing Spider-Man. I picked this one up last minute. I wasn't planning on it. I didn't pre-order it, but we had extras at our shop, so I grabbed one off the wall. They teased this, I think it was at the end of issue 86 of Amazing Spider-Man. There was at the end of every issue, they kind of tease what's coming. And so they showed, here's what's going on in issue 87. And then underneath, they're like, and also make sure you pick up Mary Jane and Black Cat. And apparently that was all I needed to pick that book up. So I grabbed it. It's going to be a quick little thing. I don't have much attachment to Black Cat or Mary Jane, I guess. I'm not expecting much from that comic. So I can only be surprised, pleasantly surprised, I guess. My bar is low for Mary Jane and Black Cat. So hopefully it impresses me. But if you go in not expecting much, then you won't be disappointed. Lessons to live by. Okay. We're getting into the final 7 comics in this stack, so we're getting there, but we're not quite done. Next up, Dark Blood number 6. I got nothing to say about this comic. This has been delayed for a while. There have been a couple delays on this run of Dark Blood. This is number 6 of 6 from Boom Studios. I haven't read this since number 2, I think. So I don't even really honestly remember what it's about. I'm just going to dig out all 6 issues and blast through this and binge read it. But I remember liking the first 2 issues that I did read. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the complete story goes. This is the variant cover by Juni Ba, who's the artist I was talking about before from the Black Panther backups this week. He did one of the backup stories in Black Panther, and he also is the writer and artist of the Image series Monkey Meat, which just started last month or this month. It was either early January or late December. A very strange book that I can't really honestly recommend, but his artwork is very unique and eye-catching. Weird variant covers that he did for this run, though. Like, I don't know how I feel about the variants. There was one he did that was like an homage to, I don't know, like an EC Comics or like an old Swamp Thing horror kind of bayou, kind of creepy horror cover that was kind of cool. But the rest of them have felt really weird and cartoony, and the tone doesn't really fit the interiors of the book. But I liked the first couple issues, and I'm excited to go back and read the whole thing. And it seems like several of you in the chat agree, which is cool. I like it when you agree with me because I'm right all the time about everything. Next book, Beast Wars number 12. I have not read this yet. This is purely a nostalgia buy. I have said that every month that I get this comic and I show it on this stream. I make sure to say that I only get this strictly because this was my Saturday morning cartoon that I watched as a child eating cereal before school. I guess not Saturday morning, but during the week. I love this show. This is Transformers, but with animals instead of cars, because cars are lame. As I say to the mechanics next door every day, these are animal Transformers. Optimus Prime is a big monkey, and Megatron is a T-Rex. And it's great. The art is very cartoony and silly. But if you liked the cartoon when you were in the 90s, however old you were in the 90s, I was a young boy, 10 or so. I loved this show when I was little. And I've been enjoying the comic a lot. This is a 25-year anniversary in 2021, so they need to stop using this because it's now 26 years. Fun show. The comic's fun, but I don't know if I could recommend it if you aren't already in love with the show like I was. I don't know how well the comic stands on its own, but if you're into Transformers, give it a shot. It's cool. It's the only Transformers comic I've ever tried because I have zero attachment to the original Transformers line. I don't care. I tried to watch the cartoon once. Not for me. Too retro. 80s cartoons or before my time. It doesn't work. I don't care. Totally off subject. Thoughts on Teen Titans Go cartoon series. Is that I watched some of the, I don't want to say original Teen Titans. I don't know. I think Teen Titans Go is the one that's much younger skewed, if I'm not mistaken. They're like smaller. Everyone's like tiny, like Powerpuff Girls size, if that makes sense. I haven't seen that. I don't know if that's the show you're talking about. I've seen the original. I keep saying original. I don't know if it's the original. It's a Teen Titans cartoon where the little girl in the theme song goes, Teen Titans! So, if that helps, seen that. Teen Titans is not, I don't have much attachment to that franchise either. I haven't read many or any of the comics, I don't think. It's definitely a series that I need to try more. I'll get around to it. I need to read the George Perez 80s stuff, if nothing else. All right, we're getting into the final books here. This is House of Slaughter number 4. Someone correct me. I haven't looked this up, but I got the strong vibes while reading this that this is almost over. So this is issue 4. Issue 5 will be coming out right before Something Is Killing the Children comes back. So I think this might be ending. I don't know if it's ending or just going on an extended break like Something Is Killing the Children did. But either way, I was kind of on this series for the first 3 issues. But issue 4 really did it for me. And it's a much more like personal, intimate story about the relationship between two dudes who are like monster hunters, I guess, in this universe. I feel like I'm making it sound so lame. Only 5 issues. Okay, Steven, thank you. Yeah, because this one very clearly felt like set up for the finale, which is cool. I'm interested to see how it wraps up. I'm ready for Something That's Killing the Children to get back to the present day storyline, especially. It feels like we've been stuck in flashbacks and spinoffs for a very long time now, so I'm ready. I'm ready to get back to Erica Slaughter doing her thing. But yeah, House of Slaughter wasn't my thing for the first couple issues, but number 4 really got me. So I think by the time it's all said and done, I will be a vocal fan of that miniseries, I guess. I assumed it was an ongoing, but I was wrong. Speaking of 5-issue miniseries, this is He Who Fights with Monsters, number 5 of 5 from Ablaze. This is the same artist, as it says up the top of every single issue. Artist of Something Is Killing the Children. Same artist, but the story is much more dark about Jewish people in Poland, I think, somewhere in Nazi-controlled Europe in World War II. There's like a rabbi who knows some magic words to kind of resurrect a golem, like a monster. I don't know if that's the right word. It's a big kind of clay behemoth sort of monstrosity who is kind of bulletproof, I guess. And he helps them fight against the Nazis kind of taking over their town. It was a cool little book. It was another 5-issue miniseries. I kind of didn't want it to be over. It reads really fast. So I would say give this a chance if you somehow missed this. It's from Vault Comics, which again is not, or sorry, this is from Ablaze, not Vault. It's really indie. I liked it. Paul says it had a cool start, but then lost me. I kind of felt the opposite, actually. I wasn't so much into this from the beginning. It was a little slow at the beginning, but once things got going, I liked the way this this ended. But I feel like it was one of those things where it takes a while to get going, but by the time it got up to speed, it was already over. So maybe if this was like a 6-issue series, it would have felt a little better for me. But it's over and done at 5. And again, I really appreciate a book that ends on its own terms before it stays too long and becomes lame. So yeah, that was He Who Fights with Monsters. Cool little 5-issue series. I will probably be bringing that to the claim sale this weekend as well. See if anybody wants to pick that up from me. What's next? Devil's Reign, issue number 3. This is the Mark Bagley connecting variant. Although I grabbed issue 2 and held it up to the side. I held it up to both sides because I could not figure out how this connects. I'm not sure. Maybe it goes above or below on the sides. I don't know. I'm a little concerned that maybe the art is not matching on here. I only got these variants because they connect. I don't particularly think it looks very good. I feel like Mark Bagley only can draw Spider-Man and nothing else. Kind of like John Romita Jr. in that sense. Like they should only be allowed to do Spider-Man and no other art. Because that's how you get good art, right? By just strict rules. But yeah, this is Devil's Reign number 3. This has been kind of an event comic about the Kingpin kind of spilling people's secrets. I haven't read any of the tie-ins, so I'm not sure what exactly is going on in the broader sense of this story. But the main story, at least the first 2 issues that I read, this has been surprisingly good. I have not been a big fan of Marvel events or just events in general. But Devil's Reign, I think, is one of the better ones because it has a good sense of stakes. It reminds me a lot of Civil War in that sense where you can kind of... No, not like Civil War. Civil War, you could kind of see where each side was coming from. This one, there is clearly a good and a bad, but it has a societal, political kind of divide that's splitting characters up. I'm trying to explain it without explaining it, which is never a good thing. So Devil's Reign, it's fun. It's cool. Just draw Spider-Man. Yeah, both of those guys should only be allowed to draw Spider-Man. And I feel like Spider-Man's got to be hard to draw. Like every panel, you got to draw all the little tiny like lines in his costume and stuff that I wouldn't want to draw Spider-Man if I could draw at all. I guess I would like to draw Spider-Man. I would like to be able to draw anything, even Spider-Man, but it seems like a lot of work. All right, we got 2 left. I'm going to go with this one. Iron Man, number 16. I don't know what's going on here. I haven't read this yet. Waiting to see if he picked up the Something is Killing the Children Mac covers. I didn't. Spoiler alert, I really love David Mack, but the price point on those was too high, and I already sold my first 15 issues. They're reprinting the first 15 issues of Something is Killing the Children with excellent David Mack virgin covers. Or at least the first issue is a virgin cover. I don't know about the rest, but it's beautiful artwork, and I love David Mack, and I would very much like to have them. But I already have the hardcover of those 15 issues, and that's my favorite way to read a story. So I don't think I didn't want to double dip on that run just to have the David Mack art. So spoiler alert, I didn't grab that. I did grab Iron Man, however. This is near the bottom of my pull list. If I were to rank my pull list in terms of most favorite to least favorite, this would be in the bottom. Not at the bottom. It's grown on me in recent issues, especially now that it has started to kind of change tactics. The story was, for the first 13 or 14 out of the 16 issues, this is number 16, the vast majority of this run so far has been one story, which sounds cool in theory, but in execution, it was a lame story, and I really wanted them to move past it for the longest time. And thankfully, they are starting to. This is Iron Man tapping into some kind of cosmic power. I have not read this issue, but he has become kind of godlike. It's going in a cool direction. Iron Man is definitely improving from where it was. I did not enjoy the first part of this run, so it has nowhere to go but up, in my opinion. Iron Man and Eternals at the bottom for you. Yeah, Paul, that would be kind of interesting for me. I've dabbled with the idea of doing a ranking of my pull list, or at least the ongoing stuff, because I have so many miniseries starting and stopping at any given month. But in terms of stuff that I have subscribed to that is on my pull list for a while, Iron Man and Eternals actually both are starting to get better for me. They're improving. They are two runs that I was not a big fan of at the beginning, but we're getting there. They're improving. They're growing on me. It's either the book is getting better or I am becoming more familiar with the world of each of those comics. So Iron Man and Eternals are definitely near the bottom of my favorite. I need to do something. Maybe I'll work on a video. I'll edit some kind of video ranking my entire pull list. That seems like that would take hours and years, forever, but I think it'd be kind of cool. At least for any one given month. I don't know. I'll think about it. That's a cool premise. Matte covers were pretty, but I passed. Yeah, same. I passed. I do like his art, but I don't know. Especially seeing today in the comic shop as I handed some of those packages out to people, seeing how it was packed together, it was a little uncomfortable. They put all 5 issues in one bag with no board or any protection in there, so I was a little nervous. They looked fine condition wise. I didn't open any of the packs to see what the other issues looked like, but I don't know. Maybe I will be kicking myself a few months down the line when those are worth, a buttload of money and I didn't get them, but I passed. I'm ready for Nice House on the Lake to come back. Me too. That's almost a month away, a little over a month away, in March. I'm not sure exactly what time in March that book's coming back, but it's March and I'm ready. I'm very ready. I like Eternals. Thought I was the only one pulling that one. Circumstances says. No, I'm also getting Eternals. A lot of people at my shop at Mill Geek are getting Eternals, but the numbers are dwindling. People are not really on board with that comic, and I wasn't for the longest time. But Thanos has been a really prevalent character in the recent issues, and I think ever since he has become a focal point of the run, it has kind of brought everything into focus. And I've been enjoying the last few issues of Eternals much more than I was at the beginning. What are your thoughts on Saga returning? I touched on this twice now in this live stream, but it's been over an hour, so it's not your fault. I hate being that guy in this instance. I like Saga. I don't love Saga. It's fine. It's fine. I guess I'm glad it's back, but I was not current in the first place anyway, so I don't know exactly where they. I think I know what happened in the issue before this. I know the cliffhanger that it left on, but I don't know anything that happened in like the previous 20 issues or so. So I'm glad it's back in like a grand sense of things, I guess, but I was not like anxiously waiting for it to come back at all. Saga is barely on my radar, unfortunately. Justin, hey, he is saying, I love being that guy. Most times I like being that guy, but it would be easier for me if I hated Saga. I don't hate Saga, so I can't really crap on it at all. I'm not trying to downplay this book. It is a modern classic, but I don't like it as much as everybody else does. And something's either wrong with me. No, something's wrong with me. There's not anything wrong with this book. This is a great book, and I can recommend it, but it doesn't work on me the same way it works on everybody else. And I would not be being honest and genuine if I lied and said it's the best book ever and I'm so excited for it to be back. I'm not excited because now I have to dig out I don't dig them out. They're right there on my shelf behind me at home, but I need to pull out the 3 hardcovers from my shelf and sit down and read them when I already have 20 plus issues that I've gone through every single week to read. I don't have the time really to read 50 back issues of Saga. So my Saga FOMO is real. I need to find trades. Yeah, you can find them everywhere, really. I mean, thankfully, it's so popular that most places will have plenty of Saga to go around. I still have 1 book to go over on this pull list. I'm not looking at it, though. I don't know what it is. Ready? It's probably going to be a big disappointment. I'm building it up. I'm hyping it up. Two Moons. Okay. No, this book is not disappointing. I quite enjoy Two Moons. This is another one that I feel like I'm the only person in the world pulling this book. I don't feel like anybody else is enjoying this or reading it or talking about it. But it's fun. It's got art in here that I really, really like. And it's like a supernatural war comic, which is a very strange combination. It's a Native American supernatural Civil War story. So it's got all of that mixed with like some Western cowboy elements in here too. It's a great mix of genres, and I'm really liking it. And I'm kind of glad that it's not the most popular book ever, because that makes me cool. For liking a book that not a lot of people are onto. You know, I like something hip and cool that nobody knows about, except all of you people who are saying you are also reading it. Every LCS has stocked up all this. Yeah, our shop definitely went bananas on Saga. We have plenty of Saga in stock at Mill Geek Comics. I am on Two Moons as well. Nope, I do, and I love it. Okay, well, I'm glad the two of you are also reading Two Moons and enjoying it. It sucks. I really like it, but there's so many other things I love coming out every month that I can't really say it's my favorite book of the month or anything like that. But it deserves to be read, and I think that might be a good reason. A good example of a book that if/when I do a ranking of my entire pull list, you know, favorite to least favorite, this would definitely be near the top, in the top part of the list. But it's hard to specifically quantify, you know, what's my 7th favorite comic on my entire pull list, or, you know, what's my 4th favorite. But if I had to put like a really, really random ballpark estimate, this would be top 15, somewhere in there. You know, it's in the top part. And I have a, as you can see, I have a very large pull list. This is just this week's books. So being in the 15th place is pretty solid. Do you read Philadelphia? I was not on Philadelphia. I somehow skipped that. I think I saw the word vampire in the previews guide when issue 1 came out, and I must have said no thanks and passed, which is a mistake. I have gone back and purchased on Comixology. I have the first 2 trades on digital on Comixology. I've read the first one, and I really liked it. It's got some of the best art I've ever seen. And the story, I love the story. Philadelphia is a fantastic book. Anybody who's not reading that, read Philadelphia. But I am not current by any means. I've only read the first trade, so 5-6 issues. And it's definitely not on my pull list either. Maybe do a top 10 every 3 months of the quarter. Okay, so that's a good segue. I have made the goal to I did a top 10 books of 2021 at the start of this month. And I have set a goal for myself to do a ranking of my favorite 5 issues every single month for the year. I want to do more with my YouTube channel. As you can see, I'm here live doing this. I want to do more with my channel on my own, but I don't want it to just be live stream stuff like this. I want to take time to edit stuff with graphics and take the chance to like have second takes of something that might not really flow that well. Like right now, I feel like I'm clunky, but the idea of doing a top 5 comics of the month of January appeals to me because I can focus on something a little. When you have to pick books of the year, you have to zoom out and kind of pick the best stuff. So a lot of great comics get ignored. So the opportunity to do a monthly kind of more zoomed in best of series is appealing to me. And I've already got a list of, actually I can check right now how many books are on this list. 2, 3, 4. I have 5 already written down. I think I have a 6th or 7th even in my head. I want to narrow it down to 5. So I've already got the books picked out. I just need to whittle them down and rank them specifically. But I'm looking forward to putting the work in on that and having that out in early February. It definitely won't be ready before the end of the month. There might be, I've only read about half of this stack so far, maybe a little less than half. There might be 1 issue from this week's batch that gets added to that list. So I don't want to finalize anything until I clear this pile. But worst case scenario, I already have 5+ books. So I'm pretty set for my top 5 comics of January. But throughout the course of this stream, I think I've kind of decided that I want to do some sort of pull list ranking video. I'm not sure what that would look like. I don't think there's any way to make that quick. That would be a a slog. That would be a gigantic process. I don't even have a list of everything I'm subscribed to right now, but if this is my weekly stack, it's a lot. It's a lot, and that would be a gigantic video. But I think it would be a fun exercise to see how to actually quantify how I feel about book X versus book Y versus book 175. Like, there's a lot. So now I'm just rambling. I'm done. I've gone through every book I have gotten this week. It's a big stack. It's a very big stack. Top 5 every week. See, that feels like too much. I can't. I have a lot on my plate. I have to read all of this, and it usually takes me more than a week to read everything. Honestly, I don't finish this whole pile by the time next week comes around. I'm making a big effort to read through this stack particularly because it's the final week of the month, and I want to make sure that there's no last minute maybe additions to the stack that might make its way onto my best of the month list. But weekly is a little too much. I have a lot to do. I have to do all this mail call stuff. I have to do my other job at Milky Comics. There's a lot. I got a lot. So a weekly video might be, at least for now. I don't want to overcommit to anything too soon. Did I miss the part where you talk about rain yet? Says No Good Comics. You did not miss that because I have not talked about rain. I did not include that on here. I got that in the middle of the week, so I should have brought that. I talked about it. Rain, number 1. It's a great comic. It's a couple weeks old at this point, I think. So I don't know if that counts. But yeah, that was another good one. Okay, I'm rambling. I gotta put some of these books into mail calls and bag and forward. Are exclusive over here. I don't know if it has been revealed, so I don't want to spoil it. But we have boxes and boxes and boxes of the other book that is going in the mail call this month. The mystery mail call has Thor, which has been revealed. It's a beautiful cover by Alex Maleev for Thor number 20. I don't think the second exclusive has been revealed yet. I'm not sure. If someone knows and wants to spoil it and clarify it, and then I can show it off. But I don't want to show it off in case it hasn't been spoiled, and that Tom would literally burn me alive. So I don't want to do that. Do I trust you, Paul? I don't know. I don't know if I trust you. I don't know if we have that kind of relationship. Tom told us, he says. So am I. I'm the bad one, then. I don't pay enough attention to what Tom does. I don't know. Tom never tells me anything. Tom told us. Saw it online yesterday. It was on his video. Is it this one? This one? How else would I know? That's a very good point. This is Stray Dogs, Dog Days. I think this is number 1. Yeah, this is number 1. It's a homage to I Know What You Did Last Summer. Really cool cover. And on the back, it's got Butch and the Guru's dog, Hank, R.I.P., Hank, and also the donkey. I don't know why they didn't name the donkey. I can't remember the donkey's name either. So donkey just kind of works. But no, they're very cool animals. Good guys. Jeff's got good donkeys. And Butch is cool too. I never met Hank. I missed the chance because now Hank is no longer with us. But it would have been cool. All right, I'm going to get to work. I've been rambling for too long, and it's 8:30, so I don't even know how much work I'm going to get done tonight. And now I'm getting a battery is low warning on my laptop, so that's fun. All kinds of signs. The universe is telling me to get the hell out of here. So I'm going to go. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. And actually, no, I will be on Tom's show before I come back here. We're doing a Comic Talk. Sorry, not Comic Talk Live. I'm doing that on Friday, by the way. Comic Talk Live. I'm so bad at YouTube. Comic Talk Live on Friday with Greg, Bearded Comic Bro, and Jen at Comics Will Break Your Heart. I'm not sure whose channel that's going to be on. It might be here. It might be on Jen's channel. That will be on Friday. And I will be going live with Comic Tom on Comic Tom's channel on Tuesday. I'm not sure what time. We normally do the show on Sunday, but we're bumping it up to Tuesday this week for scheduling reasons. And then I should be here again the following day on Wednesday for my next week's haul. So, that's my schedule. That's where I'll be. So I'll see you at some point down the road. Have a good night, everyone. Take care.